All right, so today we're going to be talking about box and whisker plots, and we're going to create them by hand. Tomorrow we'll do them with the calculator. But a box and whisker plot is just a data display that organizes data values into 4 groups. And it shows how the data is distributed. The lower quartile, or quartile 1, we know this already, is the median of the lower half of the data. The upper quartile, or quartile 3, is the median of the upper half of the data. So when you make a box and whisker plot, essentially all you're doing is you're finding out all these different values that we did yesterday. You're going to put the data in numerical order. You are going to find the median and both quartiles. You're then going to create a number line, and you're going to plot the 5 different points, which will represent the minimum value, the lower quartile, or quartile 1, the median, which we sometimes refer to as quartile 2, the upper quartile, or quartile 3, and then the maximum. You're going to then draw a box that connects the lower quartile to the upper quartile, and then you're going to draw a vertical line through the median. It's going to almost look like 3 boxes when you're done with that. Then you draw a line segment from the minimum to quartile 1, and a line segment from the quartile 3 to the maximum, and these happen to be called your whiskers. Okay, and this is how you get your box and whisker plot. So let's take a look at the first example. This data shows the scores in a 10-point math quiz. You want to make a box and whisker plot of the data. The first thing you have to do is put the data in numerical order. So if we write that, we should have a 2, a 3, 2 4s, 2 5s, a 6, 2 8s, and a 10. When we break this data up in by hand in pieces, we know that I've got 10 scores, so then right after my 5th score, right here, this becomes my median. Well, this ends up happening to be a 5. On either side of my data points, I do have 5 values, which means this score right here for sure is quartile 3. It's an 8 because I've got 2 points on either side of it. And then if I break down the median in the lower half, this score right here, the 4, is my quartile 1. This guy right here is my minimum score, number 2, and this guy right here is my maximum score. So you can see that we basically breaking down this into 4 different regions. So we happen to have these 2 numbers, which is the first quarter of the data, these 2 numbers, these 2 numbers, and these 2 numbers, all separated by our quartile 1, our median, and our quartile 3. So the number is evenly distributed. When you now create your number line, and you don't want to repeat numbers on a number line because you never do that, I'm going to start from my minimum value, and I'm going to draw number lines, a number that represents to my highest value. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me go out a little bit more. And then I've got 10. So on a number line, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The instructions say that I need to plot all of those 5 data points. So I'm going to do that now. You can do it on the number line. I'm going to go with mine a little bit above the number line. So I'm going to plot the minimum point, which is a 2. Quartile 1, the number was a 4. The value for my median is a 5. The value for quartile 3 is an 8, and the value for my maximum is a 10. Once those points are plotted, it says draw a box from quartile 1 to quartile 3, and then draw a line segment through your median, and then extend line segments from quartile 3 to the max and quartile 1 to the min. This is your box and whisker plot. And what's interesting is the data looks like it's skewed a little bit. There's a much larger region in here than there is, let's say, in here. But it's still representing 25% of the data. And we touched on this in class the other day, that the range in between these values is just a difference of 1, where the range in between these values is a difference of 3. Difference of 1, difference of 3. And that's why it looks like there's more numbers in this second part of the box than in the first. But it's not. There's still the same amount of numbers all the way throughout. That's where this thing comes from. A whisker from the minimum to quartile 1 or from the quartile 3 to the max represents 25% of your data. So this is 25% of the data within this range. This is 25% of the data within that range. All of these things are 25%. From Q1 to the median, that's another 25% of the data. And then from median to Q3, that's another 25% of the data. So even though it might look like there's less numbers in some of those 25% quartiles, they're not. They're the exact same amount of numbers. It's just the range of those numbers are different. Okay. You should also be able to analyze box and whisker plots. So this one shows you the average high temperature for 1 year, which is 12 months in Atlanta, Georgia. What's the median temperature? Well, you've got to find the median point, which is here. And when you go up, you see that that's exactly 73 degrees. What's the range of the temperature? Well, the range is the difference between the lowest value, which is here, and the highest temperature, which is here. Don't let 45 and 95 throw you off, because those are not the data points. The data points are actually 89 and 52. So that's a 37-degree range. What temperature is at the 25th percentile? Well, the 25th percentile is the quarter 1 number. This number right here, that's the 25th percentile. That's going to be a degree of 60. And then it says, well, for how many months is Atlanta's average high less than 60 degrees? Well, less than 60 degrees is just this grouping here. And we already know that this is 25% of the data. This is 1/4 of the data. But don't forget that we're showing you a graph based over the entire year. So if 12 months of the graph, and I want 1/4 of that, that's going to be a total of 3 months. Okay, so we're looking at 3 months for that particular answer, because that's the quarter of a year. And that's where we've got the quarter of a data, which is less than 60 degrees. All right, so that's, that's it. You should be good for the homework.